Welcome back to We Should Talk. In this episode, we're pulling back the curtain on what it's really like to be a therapist creating mental health content online, the pressure, the boundaries, and the realities that people don't see. We catch up on life lately, including Megan's third trimester update, preparing for 2 kids, and Amber's family summer updates. We talk about the tension between being a real human and a therapist online, including how we decide what to share, where to draw boundaries, and why some conversations don't belong on social media. We unpack some recent therapy world controversies, misinformation online, the therapy Jeff debate, why nuance struggles to go viral, and why healing doesn't happen in isolation. We wrap up with our latest What's Saving Our Lives picks and a clinical take on the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion, including a conversation about childhood trauma, invalidation, and why people can only meet us as deeply as they met themselves. Let's go. Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm so excited. We officially launched the show. How are you feeling about it?
I felt so excited. I did feel a little bit nervous, and I listened to it yesterday. I almost didn't listen to it because I was just like, am I going to be cringy? What? So sometimes I hate the sound of my own voice, still getting used to that. But I did listen back to it, and I thought it was great, and I thought it was totally the vibe that we wanted.
Yeah, me too.
Of course, my microphone stuff, it was a little staticky, a little off. I feel like such a grandma when it comes to technology stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm already 65 years old.
But we fixed it, right? It's fixed. It is all good. Episode 3, here we are. Episode 4, we're golden. So again, It just shows we get to totally be imperfect to start, and it's just fine, right? It's just fine.
Yes.
We're chugging along.
We're figuring it out as we go.
We are. Yes. This week it's been a good week. I feel like not much to report on this end other than, just feeling hard to see, but growing this
I saw
human.
Your picture on Instagram the other day. Oh my goodness. You're such a cute pregnant person.
Oh, thank you.
You're so cute. I love it.
I will take that. There's just there's a lot of baby here. And so hard to, it's like that moment where it's like, how could any more, of him fit?
Goodness. Yeah.
But I know
there will be more. To go. You still have a ways to go. That last trimester that actually lasts 4 years.
Yep, literally tomorrow is start of trimester 3. It's to the point where getting up to pee at night, it's just feels like a Herculean effort, almost need a rope to be able to pull myself out of bed.
Do you have to roll out? I remember that being a thing. You just have to roll on out.
Yep, because you gotta roll out. I gotta not roll on the dog. I've gotta make sure I get over the pregnancy pillow onto the floor and usually when I wake up, sit from laying down to standing up, I get a little dizzy, and which I've cleared with the doctor is normal, not concerning. Mm-hmm. And then, just gotta make sure I get my bearings before getting there. But yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey. But it's, it's training. It's training for those waking up at night.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So.
Yes. Does your son sleep through the night?
He does.
Now?
Thank goodness. Good. Yeah, honestly, knock on wood, and I'm going to just keep knocking on all the wood. He's always been a pretty dreamy sleeper. I know it's
you're lucky.
I know. And we're bracing because we know this is probably not going to be the same for number 2. But luckily he's a really good sleeper. So
that's nice. So he's not waking you up in the middle of the night anymore.
No,
that's really good.
Literally the other day was the first time he's ever, and he's 3.5, he'll be 4 in November. The other day was the first time he ever asked. He's like, hey, why can't I come sleep with you and Dad? He was
That's
wait,
so cute. He's never asked before.
No, he's never asked. Literally, he is one that he will not even get out of his bed until his sound machine goes off. And we've never had to train that in any way. He's just
serious. That's
just
amazing.
We were we're gonna roll with that. We are grateful. Again, I know it's totally not going to be the same for this next one, but we've been lucky. We've been lucky. So
that is nice, especially being pregnant. And then also when you do have the baby, I think it's really hard if your toddler still is waking up or still in the bed with you. I think it makes it a little bit harder for sure.
I can imagine. Remind me, what is the age difference between your first 2? or the age gap?
They're all 3 years apart.
Three.
So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so it was close to the same as
Sure.
yours will be. But so they had just, each one had just gotten like potty trained
Yes. So
before the
clutch.
newborn came, but none of my kids ever were really good sleepers. Like,
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, that just was not our lot
Mm,
ever. So our youngest is probably the best sleeper, and
the bunch.
he'll listen to we have a little green alarm clock that it turns a different color, and he'll
Yeah.
wait until that turns a different color to get out of bed.
To get out.
None of the other two like would never do that.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much we tried to do it. So, and then they all slept with us at different times, and they love sleeping with us. So
Yeah.
So
So
it is
sweet.
precious though, because those little
I know.
those little sweet sleep snuggles are the best.
The best. Just the best. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
But sometimes it's hard when you want to just get your own sleep,
Sure, have
So
your
that's
own.
really nice that you don't have to worry about that. Although the dog sleeps with you guys. Our dogs don't sleep with us.
So that's honestly probably the real issue, is that we have our two dogs who sleep
both
with
of them
us.
sleep
So
with you guys?
yeah, they both do. Yep. I know.
Are they big dogs?
One she's long. Our other one, Franklin, he's smaller. Like he'll sleep
Your
at the foot.
dog's
Like at the
name
bed
is
with me.
Franklin? That's my
Franklin?
brother's name. Oh my gosh, I love that name.
Franklin and Molly. Yeah.
I love those names.
Yeah.
Cute.
They're very cute. They're very cute. They're a lot. I'm honestly bracing for like, oh boy, 2 dogs, 2 kids. It's gonna be so much energy in the home. But
Yes.
we'll do it. We'll do it. Do you guys have dogs?
Yeah, we have 2 dogs too. Yeah.
What are their names?
Angel and Oso.
Oh, I
So
love it.
Angel's, they're both small dogs. Angel's a Cairn Terrier, and Oso is a mixed breed. We're not quite sure because he was a rescue.
Sure.
But he's very like little, like maybe like Maltese. They think he could have a little bit of a Maltese. And yeah, they're both super cute, but very high energy. So Angel's a little lower energy now because she's 8.5. So she's finally like calmed down, and she's always having to like keep Oso in check because Oso's so crazy. So it's like Oso's being crazy, and she just like goes over and she just like,
hey,
like
chill.
barking at him, like, you need to stop. You need to get it under control.
Yes.
But yeah, between those 2 and then the 3 kids,
3,
it's just
oh my gosh,
absolutely wild. Like
chaos.
It's always chaos.
Yeah. And so you guys are surviving the summer so far.
Yeah. My middle son, my 9-year-old, he broke his hand in soccer camp.
No, but I'm sorry.
My goodness. So that was kind of a bummer, and he did have some really hard feelings. He handled it really well, but then like one evening he just, had to let some tears go because he was just like, I just feel like my summer's ruined. We have a neighborhood pool. Yeah, and like we go swimming almost every day. Like we go to the lake. We do all those types of things. So
yep.
It is really a bummer for him. And he only made it through 2 days of the soccer camp. And the first day he got camper of the day. I was like, well, that's amazing. But then the second day he broke his hand. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Man, such a bummer.
Yeah. So so that's been tricky. Like, because we had just gotten, that place Sky Lake that we had gone to. We had just gotten season passes there.
Of course.
And he loved it. But like, he can't go. But my other 2 sons, of course, would want to go. So my husband's taking them there today. And then my sister's taking Ollie somewhere today special. So he gets to go do something special with Auntie.
I love that. Oh, yeah. That's so nice. Wow.
Yeah, but it's been hard. It's been like, it definitely threw a wrench in our plans.
Very unexpected wrench in the summer. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's been a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And that has been hard.
Has that been the main thing going on?
Yeah, and just my husband's parents moved in with us. Not very many people know this, but my husband's parents moved in with us at the beginning of this year. So they've been living with us. And so that's been an adjustment for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions, I'm sure. But I'm sure I know we probably won't talk, openly maybe about all of them.
Absolutely.
But curious, how are you feeling? And now that you've adjusted a bit, I imagine just how has that been for you to adjust?
Yeah, it has been an adjustment. And
Yeah.
I told Dan, I was like, it's so funny because I've literally never lived with my parents like together.
Right.
So that's also just an interesting dynamic. I feel like there's been some good reparenting things going on, like my
Sure.
mother-in-law. Luckily, I do have a really good relationship with both of them,
Amazing.
but it's still not easy.
Yeah.
Of course
Right.
not. Like, I mean, you have people living in your house,
Yeah. Like anybody,
And
that would be hard.
especially I feel like because I am such a private person and I just like
Yeah.
want my space and
Need your
stuff.
space, of
And
course.
that's just what it was always like growing up. Like I was kind of like, even at a young age, my mom was not rarely home and things like that. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
now it's like our house is always, I mean, we already have like a very full house, like very,
Right.
now it's just like it's even
Extra
more
full.
full. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I told my husband, I
Wow.
was like, now that your parents live with us, we're basically like siblings because we like are just like kind of like it's been an interesting dynamic that added to our relationship too. I mean, of course, we're not like siblings, but we are in the way of just like our parents live in our house
Navigating.
with
Right.
us.
Navigating them, right? For
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
And
Yes.
I'm curious, how do you think it's been for them, like for his parents to live with you guys? What do you
Hard.
sense?
It's
Yeah.
been hard too, which
Mm-hmm.
so that's been good because like our communication has been pretty open. His
Good.
parents did live with his other brother already before this. So they're used to that and they have more of like a separate space because we finished our basement for them, like with us. So that's been better. But my father-in-law has really late stage Parkinson's disease. And so that's just been hard to see. It's been hard to help be a caretaker for that. Like my husband,
Sure.
has been going through so much of his emotions of just like feeling like he's seeing his dad. It's
Yeah.
a really horrible disease. I don't know if you've ever like had any experience with anybody with Parkinson's. Do
Not
you know anybody with it?
in real life, but my only context is Shrinking. Watching the show Shrinking.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny because my father-in-law, he's recently, well, it's been a couple years now, he hasn't been able to drive, but like
Sure.
one of the things he like always tries to get me to do, he's like, "Well, can you just get me my license back?" And I'm like,
I know, right?
"Buddy,
That
I'm sorry, no. I
autonomy,
can't." Yeah.
independence, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So it's
Wow.
been really hard. And so that's just, of course, like so many emotions,
Yeah,
so many things going on.
absolutely.
So that's probably been like, it's probably been the biggest transition we've gone through it as a family
Hmm?
in a few years, which, so yeah, it's been hard. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I didn't realize we had really not gone through a transition now that we're not
Yeah.
having more kids.
More
Like,
kids, right?
I've been at the same job. Like I had been going through
Mm-hmm.
school for a long time. He had been switching jobs. Like we've been having more
Right.
children. So like it's been a lot of years now of like just really steady, like
Yeah.
everything's the same. And so I think it just kind of remembering that dynamic, like we're going through something big here and
Yeah.
it's okay if we're all a little like on edge and
Mm-hmm.
everything feels slightly different.
Yeah.
That's to be
Absolutely.
expected for sure.
Totally. Totally to be expected. Yeah.
Yes.
Whew. Wow.
Yeah. So that's
So,
what's been going over in the Trejo
okay.
household.
Lots happening.
You're like, I didn't see that coming. I haven't shared it very much,
Sure.
in
Yeah.
any public platform because it's
Right.
very new.
Right.
It just happened like in
Yes, of
January.
course.
And of
Right.
course I want to just make sure that like my
Right.
in-laws are protected and
Of
you know.
course. Which in this actually topic moves us right into what we wanted to talk about today, which is like what it means to be doing content as
Yeah.
a therapist, which we both
Mhm.
do.
Yes.
And I think this is such an important point. And actually, this is something that I just processed in therapy this week on Monday. I talked to my therapist about it. This feeling of like, again, as we've both at kind of a similar time stepped back into after taking a break for a bit, like stepping back into content creation, especially in anticipation of like book releases and what that all entails in terms of that too. I was processing with him this like, yeah, like what do I, because something actually happened in our episode, like episode 1 that actually I talked about with him when we were talking about toxic traits. And I said something about, right, like being late, and you're like, that's like, I can't believe you seem like such a good girl who would be like on time. And I was like, that actually happens to me like a lot in my life. And I think probably happens on like a content platform too, right? Like people
Absolutely.
might look at me and assume, like, or, yeah, good,
You've got your
nice,
stuff
right,
together.
got it all
Yeah.
together. That is right, like the trauma experience that I talk about so much. And so he had me,
Yeah.
like do like a split, like, okay, like what is what everyone sees, and then like what's the inside, right? What's happening inside for you? And it's so interesting. I'm like, I know sometimes I can like appear maybe to others, again, like have it all together, like successful, quote unquote, doing things perfectly, maybe intimidating. I've like gotten that sometimes. But then on the inside, right? It's like, yeah, anxious, worried, intimidated, right? By
Mhm.
other people, imperfect, tired, like all of this. It was just so interesting to look at that, and also to process it, obviously, in the way it plays out in real life, but then how it plays out on a content platform where people are engaging with you, but also not engaging with you, not having this personal one-to-one
Yes. Hmm.
experience, and what that does for us in terms of like what parts of ourselves do we share? Is this a role we're playing? Wanting to be really authentic, honestly, and of course, as a therapist, what's different as a therapist content creator than like an influencer who's not a therapist? Many influencers share every aspect of their lives, every facet. But for us,
Hmm.
there's so many considerations, and of course, from the beginning, for me, it's always been, would I feel comfortable with my clients seeing this, whatever this is, whether it's
Absolutely.
something I'm
Yeah.
posting on stories or here, like I see it through that lens. But I also feel like I've seen more therapists actually like probably going beyond that, like more personal
Hmm.
influencer, which is interesting. And yeah, I'm curious how that sits for you and what you've been feeling around it.
Yeah. Well, I love that you named that about the first episode, and me kind of being like, you seem like a really nice, like
Uh-huh.
person who has everything together. I think that
Right, who
that's
would
so
never be late.
interesting. Yes, yes. And I think as a therapist, I think there's just a lot of talking going on right now. Like, should therapists be content creators? Why are therapists content creators? And I've also heard a lot of people, like different people saying, like, I would never want my therapist to be a content creator. I would hate to be in the therapy room and to have my therapist be thinking of how they're going to utilize my session for content. And I think all of those questions are valid. And I think it is something that we really do need to talk about and we really do need to explore more.
Oh yeah.
I feel like as a content creator and as a therapist, I feel like people expect me to be a certain way. For instance, kind of like what you're talking about, but like, you're not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be gentle. You're supposed to have compassion for
Right.
everybody. Like, somebody's trolling you, you're supposed to say the perfect thing and be like,
Mm-hmm.
understand that they're just, having their own issues and where that comes from. And I feel like it's the same thing that happens to me a lot in real life. Like, I don't know if you've ever had the experience of someone using your profession against you. I feel like therapists are like the only like
Right.
people who it's
Yeah.
like in your personal life. Like, I have had
Yeah.
people be like, and you're a therapist, And I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh.
yeah, I am a therapist, but don't ever, ever, ever expect me. I'm not your therapist. You know what
Exactly.
I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so don't ever expect me to show up perfect because I
Yeah.
am a therapist, So I
Exactly.
think I
Right.
see that happen in my real life and I see that
Mm-hmm.
happen in content creation as well. There's this expectation that you are supposed to be regulated, you are supposed to be perfect,
Right.
you are supposed to respond with an I statement at every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's just not who I am at all, No.
Right. Right. Like we can know all these things. Yeah, but we're not, we can't be expected again, yeah, to be perfect humans at every turning point, because again, so much of the work that we're doing is actually helping people embrace all the imperfect parts of themselves. Right? That's
Yes.
actually the goal here. When you're choosing what to share on your
Mhm.
platform, like what are considerations that you have? Or and maybe what are
Yeah.
like boundaries that you have too?
Well, and as you were talking about what you share and how some people are sharing more personal things, I think I do share some pretty personal things on my
Mm-hmm.
Instagram about my own personal experience with complex trauma and CPTSD, specifically in regards to motherhood and the way it's shown up in my relationships.
Yeah.
But my kind of rule of thumb is it has to be something I've already worked through and processed. That doesn't mean I'm not still struggling with it. Like, for instance, motherhood. Like, there's always going to be aspects of motherhood that I struggle with, right?
Right. Right.
But it has to be something that I'm not just like putting out there that feels like it's a wound inside of me, that I'm like, here's my wound. Can you validate this?
Right.
Can you help me with this? Can you help me feel less alone? Like, so for me, I'm like, I have to have already processed. I have to have already like tended to that. I have to have already like gotten past it to a degree that it feels safe enough for me to talk about.
So true.
So that's my rule with my trauma. So I feel like I'll talk about my early years of marriage, right? I'll talk about, which everybody's like, that feels really vulnerable. But for me, I'm like, but I've already been through years of therapy. And so for me, I'm like, I'm okay being vulnerable and sharing how hard it was, because I know that will help other people. And I know it's not still a current thing that's like feels so heavy for me.
Totally. Which is, I think, so important and such a great, again, clear, boundaried way to go about it.
Yeah.
There's so much intention behind it. I'm curious for you too. Do all your clients know that you have like a content presence?
It's so interesting because I don't know that I've talked about it openly with all of my clients.
Yeah.
How about you? I'm wondering about that.
Yeah,
like
there's a mix. Like there's a handful that have found me this way. So like that is, I know they see me there obviously. And then I have many in my caseload who I've had for so long that like they either don't know or they didn't know. And then whether it's like they've asked me directly, like, I noticed I saw this therapist thing. Do you have a platform? And I'd be like, I do. Have to have that conversation around navigating. You can absolutely follow, but obviously and anything that comes up for you around content that you see that I share, we can absolutely process here, right? Again, bringing it back into the room. And then there are some who I think have no idea, no clue that I do. So it's interesting, right? Because it's like, that's part of the relational component in the room. And obviously I'm not going to like say, hey, guess what? I have an Instagram presence. You should follow me there. Right. Again, if they happen to find it, sure. Like, and they can bring it up. We can talk about it. But I'm actually like, I think there's a piece of me that's sitting with like when the book comes out, especially knowing that like, I write about more, parts of my personal story that I don't necessarily share on my page. That'll be interesting. And like, will I handle it the same way of like, if they happen to see it, that it's a thing, like we can talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be something to process it. But even as I was writing the book, I would be totally okay, with any client reading it, not a problem. And what helps is that my own therapist has done a lot of his own writing, the professional writing that is out there that references his story, his past. And of course, like he's been such a good model of how to name it, how to bring it in, how to self-disclose in a way that is helpful to me, right? Like, which of course, as a therapist, when you're choosing to self-disclose in a session with a client, it is exactly what Amber said, right? It's something that it's not a wound that you have that needs to be tended to by someone else, but it's something you've processed that you feel like will help the client feel less alone in what they are going through. And it can be very powerful when you choose to bring that in with the intention to, to attune to the client. But again, with content, with writing a book, we are, without being one-to-one in the room, there's a lot of relating happening that we don't necessarily have the ability. And that's the hardest thing for me. Like I love being one-on-one in the room. It feels a little more stressful to know that even with content, or even with some people that might reach out with messages, with like questions of like telling their story and like, this is what do you think? And this, like even recently I've had to just kind of set boundaries to name that I don't offer any, therapeutic advice in the DMs. Yeah. And directing, people to seek their own therapy. But I know that in the content that we share, especially, there is a draw of like, you see me, you get me. I want to connect with you.
Absolutely. Well, and it is this unique experience where, you like, okay, so for you, I don't feel like I know as much about your trauma, your childhood trauma. Right. But I feel like you share a lot of how it has impacted you. And I feel like you're one of those creators that you're able to explain a pain point really, really well. And that's why people, of course, are drawn to you, because the reason why you can explain that pain point in the way that you do is because you've experienced yourself, right? And so, but I do feel like when I do share about my childhood trauma, it is still, even though I've processed it, it is like, do you know this about me? Do you not know this about me? And especially like there's been certain podcasts that I've done before where I'll divulge a little bit, even like more about my trauma. And so I think that that kind of feels a little bit more like vulnerable, not having the context in my nervous system of like, have you seen this? Do you know this about me, or do you not know this about me? And I feel like it comes out more, not so much with clients. I do have a disclaimer in my paperwork just because I feel like people should know and have a right to choose. But like my past clients, before I had, you know, gotten a lot of followers and stuff, I mean, it's just kind of not come up because like, what am I don't really want to be like, hey, by the way.
Exactly.
You might want to know this, you know, but in my paperwork, I explain that I do have social media and to not, of course, contact me through that. And that also, if anything I say in my social media feels misaligned or, you know, bothers you, please bring it into the room, right? Because that's very much a possibility. But where it feels really vulnerable is like my kids' friends. Parents, my kids' friends' parents. So like if I run into somebody, if, you know, and I'm like, could they, like, I've had some of my kids' friends' parents, like, find my social media or something, like, oh my gosh, like, you're, you know, so then that feels vulnerable. Like, I would never want my kids to have to bear, like, any kind of, do you know what I mean? Like, have any issues because of what I disclose on social media. Right.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, there's your mom over there talking about trauma all the time, right?
Exactly. Like what happened, which just requires, right? Like so much more conversation, so much more with your kids, like with their friends' parents, right? So much more conversation about it. And it's just such an interesting experience. It really is.
Well, no one can really understand quite what it's like unless you are having the experience. And so that's the other thing about social media. I do tell my kids, like, I've shared with them what I just in an age appropriate way, not like my youngest, but like as my kids are getting older, they do know that I've been through a lot of childhood trauma. They don't know the specific details. As they get older, they learn more, but they do know that I have a public platform and that, you know, like I do have a lot of people who, you know, follow me and who see my content, and that I've been on podcasts and these types of things. And so that's another boundary that I have, is like, I really don't tell personal stories about my children. Like, you will never hear super personal stories about like, my son asked me this, or, you know, there's some really sweet moments that happen between my kids and I that I would love to share, but I'm like, but then that kind of like, that puts them out there in a way that they never gave me permission for. They never asked for. So I am very boundaried around like what I will disclose around my children, what my children are going through, and things like that too.
Yep. Which is, makes so much sense. And for me, obviously with my son being so much more little, like I feel like I haven't gotten to that point yet. And of course I'm not sharing, if anything, we're sharing little tidbits of just examples of, you know, funny story, whatever it is, but not a whole, but it is something to be, so mindful of, so present to, and just having to be so considerate of. I am so curious. Tell me, like there have been some therapist content creator controversies that have come up recently.
Yeah, let's talk about those.
Like, I mean, there's quite a few we could comment on, but I think one of the biggest, most notable ones where like boundaries were definitely crossed was the therapy Jeff debacle. And if you don't know, if you haven't followed him, I bet if you were to look him up, you would be like, oh, right, I've seen a video, right? He's he was very popular. Had a good formula of, you know, talking about popular current events and from more of a mental health perspective. And he did some things that really crossed some lines. Like I'm actually like already kind of forgetting the main one that happened. I'm thinking of the threads. Thing that happened, so but I feel like there was something else, right?
The first thing he did was, it was right when that website came out where all those men were like, there was like 62 million men or something signed up for this academy of like And trigger warning for this, just to put that out there, about how to rape your wife and things like that. So this was all over social media, and he had made a video about how there's no way for men to be able to like get help if they have these types of fantasies, and it was just really not the time or the place for what he was making a video about.
Right.
But then right after that, was the thread connected to that, or
it was not? It just happened to be around the same time where somebody, again, another explicit trigger warning here, someone had wrote a thread of like asking men essentially how they preferred to receive a hand job, something like that. And he replied from his Therapy Jeff account in great detail about what
I did read that. I was,
yeah,
whoa.
Me too. And I was like sick, like,
not appropriate.
So beyond not appropriate.
Yes. Yeah.
And just like, right, I mean, that created so much outrage. His response to his video response about, again, decentering a woman's experience, right, and focusing on the men. Just, you know, it got huge, right? Like so inflamed. Like was reading about it everywhere, and even he did an apology maybe like a week later, and it just felt like really like, I'm saying the right thing. I'm saying the thing. I'm taking accountability. I'm doing this, right? But again, it just was like, it was left such a bad taste.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like Therapy Jeff is a really good example. And this is something that I've heard of a lot of people say, is just because someone's a really good content creator doesn't mean they're a really good therapist.
Yes.
And just because someone's a really good therapist doesn't mean they're going to be a good content creator. Like having those two combined is extremely rare, right? Because I feel like a lot of really good therapists, like the best, they're probably not going to be super good at content creation. Like it's just the truth, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the best content creators are so the things that really like the algorithm loves a lot of the time are so not nuanced, you know? And
right.
But I do feel like as therapists, even though content creation is clearly not therapy, and that's something I would talk to people all the time that like I work with who want a content creation presence. I'm like, content creation is a totally separate job than therapy, and it's not the same whatsoever.
Right.
But as therapists, ethically, we have a lot more responsibility than just a coach or someone who is an influencer, right? We carry the responsibility of, we still cannot do harm. We still cannot do the type of thing that Therapy Jeff is doing, right? And yeah, like describing a sexual experience and like what you want out of a sexual experience. And I feel like Therapy Jeff was one of those therapists where I was like, he seems like an amazing content creator, but I don't think I would enjoy him as a therapist. I don't feel like he would, he didn't come across to me as a good therapist, but I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
No, I agree. Don't get the like, it feels very performative, right? Not attuned, right? Attuned to
Absolutely.
you. Like it really did feel like he's following a script to get engagement, to get followers, to get all of this, and kind of missing who he's talking to, right? How are they impacted? And I imagine, of course, there's this other factor that comes into play that, again, why every therapist should be in their own therapy, especially therapists who are content creators.
Absolutely.
Being able to talk about, I'm sure, as his account grew to millions, I'm sure there's like stuff happening inside for him. I'm sure there's a lot of validation happening. I'm sure it's kicking up all of his stuff. But again, it's his responsibility to work on that, to understand how it's impacting him. And it's so clear that these like just very obvious violations of his own ethical boundaries and standards as a therapist being so gravely missed shows that perhaps it's not work he was doing. Because again, a really good therapist is going to be processing that, assessing that, understanding how they're impacted. He's not everybody's, millions of people's therapist. We know that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. That's the other important thing. Yeah. To remember about content creators. They're not your therapist. They're not.
Exactly. And that, you know, it's so clear that there was just more care and intention needed as things grew, as I'm sure, right? And my therapist and I were actually talking about this of like what quote unquote fame might do to someone and how that actually, like, obviously it's probably fueling maybe some more self-focused parts. And I think it's so clear that he's being operating by more self-focused parts than people-centered, client-centered parts.
Absolutely. And just like we were talking about, I mean, I think that it is a balance. Like, we can't expect therapists to show up like that and be thinking of everybody and like
Yes.
all of that.
Right.
And there still is some responsibility that needs to be taken. And I feel like
Yes.
I see that sometimes. Even I'm not going to name the content creator, but I had posted a video about it. There's a very popular marriage and family therapist who like she has a very cold demeanor about her as a content creator, and she's very direct.
Uh-huh.
But she had said something along the lines of like, if you think of your child in this way, that's emotional abuse. And I was so livid, like,
Yeah.
it pisses me off more being a therapist and seeing other therapists do it, because I know the name of the game. Like, we all know
Mm-hmm.
that the algorithm likes that, and it's like controversial,
Mm-hmm.
but
Of
it's also
course.
like, how many people are you harming? And I think that that's what we really do need to take into consideration. Like, how many
Totally.
parents are seeing your reel that went mega viral and
Mm-hmm.
believing inside they're emotionally abusing their child because
Yeah.
they're having a thought about them? Now, that's misinformation, and that's harmful
Totally.
misinformation,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
I actually commented on, and I don't do that very often, but like, I
Uh-huh.
commented on her reel to talking about doing the work. I commented on her reel and I was like, this feels very shamey, and it's also not correct. Like, I think there's better
Yes.
ways to help teens and parents than something like this. She immediately deleted my comment and blocked me. And
Stop.
I'm dead serious. I never
No
told anybody this
way.
on the reel that I did. And I don't want to
Uh-huh.
name the content creator, but
Sure.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
you can't
Wow.
take feedback. Now, I wasn't
Uh-huh.
trolling you. I wasn't like being abusive in your comments. I was just saying, like, this is the way this is landing. And I'm another therapist telling you this.
Right.
You block and delete the comment. So maybe you're not in a good headspace to be able to be like posting content like this, you know what I mean,
Right.
on a
Right.
regular. But I
Exactly.
don't know. What do you think about that? Can you believe that? Like,
Wow. That
delete
is,
and comment, delete a
yeah, which
comment and then
again,
block the
right,
creator.
it actually tells you so much about where she or this person is at in their own
Exactly.
process, right? Obviously, if
Mm-hmm.
to not be able to hold the nuance, right? To like hold actually the responsibility of anything that you put out there is going to be received and engaged with, whether positively or what you might perceive as negatively
Mm-hmm.
by other people. And it's actually your responsibility to engage in that conversation, because this,
Please.
right, that to to block you and to delete the comment, right, it stops
I
the
was,
conversation.
yes. And it
It
also,
makes,
it spreads more harm because like,
right, exactly.
your platform could like, people could see this comment from another trauma
Mhm.
therapist who's saying this is shame based and feel validated and feel like, okay, well, maybe not everybody thinks this is true and maybe it isn't true, but you're deleting the comments that are telling you like this
Yeah,
feedback. So that's also even like more harmful. And I'm just like,
right.
what are you doing, girl? Like,
Huh.
get it together,
Yeah,
because people are going to disagree with you.
of
And
course.
if they disagree
Right.
with you and it's somebody who's a colleague, like who also has experience, you might want to just reconsider, even if it went viral, maybe it's not the best message to be sending.
Right. Because again, it's like if she's trying to maintain the virality of it and hold on to that, again, it's a self-focused tendency. It's not
100%.
in service of actually having a more nuanced conversation. And of course, if she's even talking about emotional abuse, what did she just do there? Like totally silencing, shutting down a
Totally.
conversation, right?
Totally.
There needs to be an examination of how that is playing out. Because again, like if, and as us as trauma therapists who show up, we are signing up to be able to hold that nuance, that presence, to have to speak to, let's say something doesn't land, right? Like it is our responsibility to have to
Absolutely.
address it, to talk about it, because it's, again, it's not just about going viral, gaining followers. It's again the intention. If, and I always come back to this of like, what is, like, in the times that I feel most like maybe overwhelmed by it, so what's my intention here?
Mhm.
And I even write about this in the book. It's like, no, if I can help you feel seen, feel known in a way that you didn't know that you could, and then help guide you, right? Like be a container that helps you step into the safe spaces with the safe people where you can do the real deep work. Because we know just reading a post or watching a reel isn't doing the deep work. It's giving you information, right? It's helping guide you towards it.
Absolutely.
But that's the goal. If it can help you step into a really safe, attuned relationship with a therapist, or just help you understand that better, like amazing. That's the goal, right? It's just like helping give more access for people to understand what this healing work is like, and to be able to have the experience that I know we've both had in being in therapy and doing this work. It's not isolated, right? It's not done alone. It has to be done in relationship. And while many might think that the relationship can only exist between you and a content creator, it cannot. Actually, I think that's where people have maybe issues with someone like Mel Robbins or holistic psychologists, right? Who are maybe more promoting, like, you can do this all on your own, right?
You
like
can
the whole self-healers thing. I'm like, it's not a thing, right? Like,
that's not the way it works. Yeah,
Right.
that's not the way any of this works.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like the true deep healing is relational healing. And so,
Absolutely.
And I think so much of what we're talking about here too is like holding the nuance between, obviously being a therapist, it's a business, right? Like, this is our work. Like, we do, right? This is how we sustain ourselves, and it's relational. And I think that is probably actually like the biggest conflict that as therapists we come into, because obviously this is being a content creator helps to expand our businesses, which is beautiful and wonderful. And we get to help more people. But then, of course, you have to examine, when is the business part perhaps taking over, maybe being more harmful than the intention of the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that it can be challenging. I'm curious what your experience has been about this, but it can be challenging not to go into this feeling of like, well, like, what can I do with this? And kind of really I mean, first of all, it's totally okay to be excited, and it's totally great and amazing to be like, I want to write a book and I can access that through this. And, you know, when I wrote my workbook, I had the opportunity to talk to some of my clients whose some of the vignettes were loosely based around them, and like getting to share with them like, oh yeah, like, this is loosely based around you. Is this okay with you? Because I still, even though it's loosely based, I don't want you to read it or something and then be like, hey, that's my story and she used it. And I'm very also like mindful of never using my clients' exact experiences in content creation. I think that's another boundary.
Totally.
And I would say you totally do that same thing, but not all therapists do. But I think, so like, when it comes to your therapist being a content creator, I'm curious with the audience. I would love to like get emails or whatever, DM us. I am very curious to know, like, what do you feel like are some cons of why you wouldn't want your therapist to be a content creator, and then also why you might want your therapist to be a content creator.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think where I was going with that was just like that like my clients were like, a lot of my clients were like, oh my gosh, like, how cool that my story, like, you know, gets to have this ripple effect and actually like get to help so many other people because of the work that we've done together.
Totally.
And I feel like it's just like, I won't use my clients, but it's impossible to say that I am not inspired by my clients, that they haven't profoundly impacted me and changed the way I work, right? Like, change the way I show, change my content, change my belief systems, change everything. That's the beautiful dynamic that happens in relationship with people and in the therapeutic alliance. So it's like, yes, they've impacted me.
Yeah.
Yes, they do impact the way I show up online, what I choose to share, what I don't choose to share.
Right.
But the business aspect of it, like, it does start like getting to, I don't know, what do you think? I was going to say getting to your head, but like, I feel like it is hard not to let it get to your head.
Oh, totally.
Like, oh my gosh, like, these opportunities are coming. So like, what has that been like for you? Like, how do you feel like you stay grounded? Like, you're writing, you got this amazing book deal, and I feel like you're so business oriented and you're so good at content creation. So like, what do you feel like, how have you stayed grounded?
Such a great question. I learned a lot initially because I think when my account first grew, I think I felt very much like, oh my God, I can help so many people. Like, how can I do that? And like, what is the best way to do that? So like, I literally did all the things because I'm a Capricorn. I'm like a very type A, like I can build and grow. I'm a generator too. I don't know if you know human design.
No, I don't, but I've always wanted to try that. Okay.
I would love to know what your human design is. We'll side note that for
I was gonna
another
say maybe we should do an episode
episode.
on that. Oh, I would love
Yes,
that.
yes. Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. Because mine is a generator. And when you're a generator, like you operate best in your life and in business, all that by doing. Like you do, you build, you grow, like you just do. And that is me. I love to share information that can help someone be like, oh my goodness, wow, I know so much more about myself again, and take it to be able to bring it into a therapy space to work on. But I did find in like
Absolutely.
building some courses that were more teaching modeled and then doing a group program. I found the group program to me was like I was like, this is okay. This is what I
Mhm.
love. Because again, the most obviously the information shared was great, but the really transformational aspect of it was the group itself, right? Being able
Absolutely.
to be vulnerable together in a group. So that was really affirming to me that when it comes to being able to build and grow, that really wanting to focus on more relational experiences. That was really important to me. And then of course, obviously the book is not that, but you know, books are different, I think, than a course, right? Like book, we can have it in our hands, we can read it, we can refer to it, can relate to it. So that was, you know, that was very exciting to be able to write that and to offer that again with the same intention of someone being able to have it, to understand themselves more deeply, and then to be able to take it into a relational space. And I really emphasize that throughout the book, that the safe relational space is key, that all the healing is not
Mhm.
going to come just from reading the book itself, but that again, we want it to be a guide to get into that more healing space. So it's interesting.
Absolutely.
Like again, how we see other content creators grow, especially ones that are more like marketing techniques, or even this is why so many therapists probably do well on social media and then go into social media for other therapists type businesses,
Yes. Yes.
because that is a way, sure, to expand and grow, which is great for
Yeah.
anybody. But again, it's there's so much to consider. And I'm curious, how has that for you been too?
Yeah. For me, I think it's had its ups and downs. I think I've had these like major moments happen that I will just say would never happen in the therapy world if I didn't have content creation. And you know what it's like. I mean, like the experts in our field are literally like 75 or 80 years old.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
to be a therapist who gets the opportunity to write a book, that usually doesn't happen for like decades
Yeah.
after you've been a
So true.
therapist.
Hmm.
And so that has just been like surreal, like in
Yeah.
so many different ways, you know, like
Yeah.
having such a big following and being
Hmm.
asked to be on these different podcasts that I've been asked to be on, like that
Hmm.
feels so real. Like some of the people who've liked my posts or, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
I always, yeah, like Alanis
Who's the coolest
Morissette,
person? Yeah. Right.
the
Right.
coolest person who's ever liked my post. And like my niece is going to kill me because I feel like I always say her name wrong. Like, so please, I hope I say it right.
SZA. Sure. Yeah.
Sissa.
Yeah.
She liked one of my
Uh,
posts.
uh,
I was like,
uh,
"What?" And my niece
I
thought I was
know.
literally the coolest person ever
Huh?
when I shared that with her.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And so that's surreal. That's so like, "Oh my gosh."
Uh-huh.
Alanis
Right.
Morissette followed me, which was like
So
she's an
cool.
icon, and
Uh-huh.
I listened to her stuff always, like, growing up, and so it's just that feels surreal.
Mhm. Yep.
Getting the opportunity to write a book, that felt
Yeah.
surreal.
Mhm.
So I think it's been, like, these amazing moments that I'm just, "Wow, I'm so glad that I was intentional about
Yeah.
this." But
Right.
and so many people reaching out and saying, "This has helped me in ways you'll never understand." Like, I feel
Mhm.
like you understand me in ways that I haven't been able to
Yeah.
understand myself, and to
Exactly.
offer that attunement. So that
Huh?
is what I feel like is something I can do and was always my
Right.
goal in my content
Yes.
creation was like, I wanna bring the safety and attunement that does happen in the room out to
Mhm.
thousands of people and, like, help
Totally.
them have an aha moment
Yes.
that forever changes the way that they
Uh,
think about their life, their patterns, their healing process, everything. And that's freaking amazing to get to do that. Like,
it,
oh my
it is.
gosh, you know, like I could have changed the way that you parent. I could have changed the way that you know, whether you have that mom rage and you pause and you're just like, I'm going to talk to my inner child. I'm going to help her feel safe.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
like that could change you having a rage attack with your child.
Right.
And you're just scrolling on Instagram. So it's
Yes.
like I think that
Mhm.
that's been amazing, but then the other part of it that's been hard is just like not knowing what to do with any of it and feeling like it's this whole other beast, like, that I have to manage, that
Right.
I'm not equipped. Like, I went to school for we went
Right.
to school for therapy. Like,
Therapy, not
I'm
business. Right.
exactly. So I feel like I'm constantly, like, feeling like I don't know what I'm doing to an
Hmm.
extent.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I love that that's kind of like where we both met actually and like creating this, right? Creating this podcast. I think we both came to this. I think there was this initial like, okay, how do we like what do we need to create or build around this, maybe to reach more people, to offer more tools, like the
Mhm.
courses that we have, which are wonderful and amazing. And I think still do that, offer that these moments of attunement and understanding for someone to be
Yeah.
seen. Love that. And even just in this, right? Like in putting
Mhm.
something like this out to
Mhm.
help someone feel seen, feel less alone, right? It's just all about
Yeah. My
connection,
goodness. Yeah.
community, and that I think I know both of us like that's our goal right now. Is like let's
Yeah.
just connect
Mhm.
and not have
Absolutely.
to maybe not have to do. And that's why this is so fun because this is sure we're doing like we're here, we're recording this, but it's also we're connecting and it feels very
Mhm.
real and it's not, again, us alone in a room putting something together. It's us relating and talking about the nuance and holding space for many feelings, which is, again, it's like the bread and butter of what we do and what I know is so meaningful and what we want to put out there. So,
Yeah. And also why therapists naturally do make really good podcast hosts, do
yeah.
make really good content
Oh, for sure.
creators in that way, because it's like we're used to joining with people. We're
Hmm.
used to having to like to making people feel
Yeah,
safe too. So
for
in that
sure.
way, I feel like it does come natural for so many of us. And then
Totally.
others, of course, it doesn't at all. And
Yeah,
that's totally
totally.
okay too.
Exactly. Exactly. Totally okay. And so would be so if you're listening and you have any thoughts or questions about or just experiences of what it's like to whether it's seeing your therapist on social media or just
Yeah.
anything you're wondering, feel free to ask us questions. We wanna hear. We wanna keep the conversation going. I am wondering if we're gonna transition for a sec
Hmm.
into have there been any comfort shows or shows that you're watching this week that brought up
Shows.
anything for you? I've watched the Real Housewives of Rhode Island reunion, episode 1, and
Okay.
there was an interesting moment that I wanted to talk about where one of the women, Rula, like says to another woman, Joellen, and Joellen on the season really has an arc of working out a lot of childhood trauma with her mom. I think we may have talked about this
I
on an earlier episode.
Yeah, and I saw the clip. I saw a clip of
Yeah.
it too. Like her mom was actually responding, I felt like pretty
Yeah.
well.
It was
Yeah.
a it was a powerful conversation to watch. And she's
Yes.
talked so openly about it. And, there's been a few where they're processing their childhood trauma together. But then, like in the reunion, Rula, she goes, you're making it's all about your mom. You make it all about your mom. And I was like, how dismissive, right? Like, isn't that like the experience? I know so many people who are healing from childhood trauma and actually being so vulnerable to talk about it, to share about
Mhm.
it and then to have it be met. And this happened actually with the other woman, Alicia, who's talking about her dad who left her. And then this other woman, Liz, is saying, you weren't like this essentially like didn't happen. It didn't happen. Like they're just rejecting it so fully, which, oh, I can imagine anybody who's had that experience. It's probably really triggering to watch that play out because again, like when someone is not able to hold space for the complex nuance of your lived experience to not just,
Mhm.
right, they're shutting it down instead of validating, like, yeah, that was really hard for you. That
Yeah,
was really hard. Like, and you can validate and say that was really hard for you. And, we might not understand each other and that's okay too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just got so inflamed. So really interesting to watch and to take in. And just kind of again was another example of how, right, people are at different places, in their healing journeys, whether it's with your own parent, with your own sibling, or, a real housewife of Rhode Island. But it's so clear it kind of was a good example of like people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. And
Yeah.
right, when someone's really invalidating the trauma that you're vulnerably discussing and talking about, it just shows, right? They've never done that work and have been able to go there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that the biggest thing that I could offer to anybody who's experiencing that I just hope that and even to the Real Housewives of Rhode Island is, that like it has nothing to do with you. I think that that's such a huge part of just like the healing journey is like one,
Mhm.
just realizing like your parents' capacity to have self-awareness, to be able to take responsibility, like none of that has anything to do with you. And when
Mhm.
when shame is present and those protective
Mhm.
parts come up and someone hasn't done the work, it looks exactly like that. Like, yeah, you're the one to blame. Like you're making it
Mhm.
all about your mom, or you're doing this or you're doing that. And so I think that, yeah, it's
Mhm.
important to see those dynamics play out in real life. But I think that's another reason why they should just really have therapists around,
I
because I feel
know.
like somebody pointing out those dynamics, it's just like
Right.
it immediately offers relief. It's like, oh yeah, like now I can see how this is happening. It
Yeah.
doesn't make me feel like it's all my faults, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. So, like, such important commentary to
So,
have. So I wanted to name
so
that
important. Yeah.
today too for anybody else who was watching and noticed that too. Interesting
Yeah.
to see it play out.
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah. Oh,
love that you bring in the Real Housewives.
happy to
They're the
do it.
best.
Yep, currently in it. I'm not sure what to do or to watch because Summer House is over, but I'll figure out. I'll
Have
figure
you
out
been
something
having your
else.
end of show grief?
I have truly.
Yes.
And like it's not I'm at a point in the pregnancy where I'm really not actually able to make a whole lot of any time of staying awake to watch anything anymore because
Yes.
8 p.m. hits and I'm done. So
Yes.
so I'm sure maybe in the postpartum fall there'll be some new things to watch for sure.
Yes. Yes. You got to have those postpartum shows too,
Yes. Oh yes, for
for
sure.
when you're breastfeeding and stuff,
Uh-huh.
or
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
just feeding, whatever.
Yes, ideally
Ex-
breastfeeding. It went well the
exactly.
first time, so fingers crossed we get to do it again. But yeah, but
Oh,
tell me
okay.
what's the thing that's saving your life this week?
What's saving my life? Okay, I was thinking about this because now I'm like, I want to be prepared for this
Yes.
question. I have been using our community garden so much, and I have been obsessed with it. And we are able to ride our bikes there, my oldest and I.
Nice.
So we've been riding our bikes, and I try to go like a few times a week because we can pick like a whole bucket full of produce, and it's free. And so
That's
that's just
amazing.
been a huge blessing. And it's just like fun to get to ride our bikes there and stuff.
Yeah.
And my oldest loves it. He's such a nature guy. And so he's always like, yeah, let's do that. So we've been doing that a lot. And then I just haven't been having to pay for produce at the grocery store, which I
Yeah.
feel like has been
That's
so nice.
that's incredible. Wow, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, that's been
What a
saving my life.
cool I love it. Community to live in.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's been cool. How
Wonderful.
about you? What's been saving your life
Yeah,
this week?
for me this week, I'd say biggest thing are just like daily walks. Daily walks with the dogs has been like just a really nice moment to reset, to ground, just to move. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of obviously like sitting in sessions or working and just, yeah, it's always a good moment of the day to get out of the house and to make them very happy. And so it's just, yeah, I've
Feels
been
good.
really enjoying, yeah, those moments of the day. Feels like it brings me back in my body to be really
Mhm.
mindful and obviously feels good to move. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's been it.
Are you in an area in Chicago where like it's fun to walk, like, or do you mainly walk around your neighborhood? Like what is the
So we're
walkability
we're
kind of?
out in a suburb, like in a
Oh,
suburb of
okay.
Chicago. So a
Okay.
little further out. Our neighborhood exactly is like kind of your traditional like suburban neighborhood
Yeah.
to walk around, which is lovely
Which is
and
so
fine.
nice too. Yes.
But I do, being very much a city girl, I do miss like being in somewhere like downtown Chicago or, New York where you could just walk everywhere and anywhere. I love
Yes.
that. And I miss that deeply
Oh,
because,
yes.
man, like just walking was just like, I think when I worked at the hospital there, I would probably maybe get like 12,000 steps a day. Like there was just like
Whoa.
not even trying. Like it's just
Yeah.
was the daily routine.
Yes.
So I do miss that. But
I know my boys love it when we go to a big city. They're always like, how come nobody just is walking around like in our
right.
city, in our neighborhood as much? And I'm like, because we're
Uh-huh.
not like, in a big city, we're in a suburb, but they
Yeah.
just love the idea of like everybody walking everywhere.
I
And so do I.
It's
I
so
think it's
nice.
just like such a fun
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, I know. And I wish we were, in Chicago. It's so nice to walk along the lakefront. It's so beautiful, especially this time of
It
year.
is. Yeah.
So maybe before baby gets here, need to make an intentional day to go down there and just do a little walk there. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, so good talking with you
You
today.
too. Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you back here next week.
See you guys next week.